श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अन्नमयादन्नमयमथवा चैतन्यमेव चैतन्यात् द्विजवरदूरीकर्तुं वाञ्छसि किं ब्रूहि गच्छ गच्छ इति। अन्नमयादन्नमयमथवा चैतन्यमेव चैतन्यात् द्विजवरदूरीकर्तुं वाञ्छसि किं ब्रूहि गच्छ गच्छ इति। किं गङ्गाम्बुनिबिम्बितेऽम्बरमणं चाण्डालवाटीपयः पूरे चान्तरमास्ति काञ्चन घटी मृत्कुम्भयोर्वाम्बरे प्रत्यग्वस्तुनि निस्तरङ्गसहजानन्दावबोधाम्बुधौ विप्रोऽयं श्रपचोऽयमित्यपि महान् कोऽयं बिभेदभ्रमः। There is another tune that we sing this meter in Shardula Vikridita meter. This is, if you remember, the Dakshinamurti Stotram verses also, we follow the same chandas. King Gangambuni Bimbite Varamano Chandalavati Payaha Pure Chantaramasti Kanchana Ghati मृत्कुम्भयोर्वाम्बरे प्रत्यग्वस्तुनि निस्तरङ्गसहजानन्दावबोधाम्बुधौ विप्रोऽयं श्रपचोऽयमित्यपि महान् कोऽयं बिभेदभ्रमः. Two different tunes, you can choose either of them. So these two verses form the prelude to this profound Nidhi Vyasana Grantha or contemplative prakarana called Maneesha Panchakam, composed by Adi Shankaracharya when he was in Kashi. So just to recap the story briefly, as Acharya was proceeding towards the Vishwanatha temple, his path is obstructed by a sweeper, an outcast, a chandala. And so spontaneously, out of habit, what does Acharya say? Gacha gacha, move. No? And we also, when we are proceeding to an auspicious function or a temple, we will also do the same thing when our path is obstructed by, a lower caste person. And so, but when he says that, the sweeper does not obey the command, rather the chandala challenges the command. He says, hey Vidwan, hey Dvijavara, hey Vipra, you are a great Mahan Acharya of Vedanta. What is it that you wish to separate? Duri Kattam Vanchasi Kim. And when you say Gacha Gacha, what is your intention? Do you want this Chandala body to move away from your Brahmana body? This Annamaya Kosha is the same as your Annamaya Kosha. Both are Panchabhautikam, made of the 5 same elements. Yeah? And they are born of Annam, they are sustained by Annam and will go back to Annam. So that does not make any sense. Or is your intention that this Chandala Atma should move away from the Brahmana Atma? Is that your intention? But Atma is all pervading, it is Achalaha. And then the Chandala goes on to give 2 examples and says, take the example of Prakasha, Surya Prakasha. how the light is reflected, in the divine waters of the Ganga, and also the ditch, muddy waters in a slum locality. But Prakasha is Ekaha. Prakasha is all-pervading, and Prakasha is Asangaha, unaffected. Or, and the second example the Chandala gives is Ambara. Ambara means space. Take the space enclosed in a golden jar or in a mud pot. The space is also Ekaha, indivisible, Asangaha, unaffected, all-pervading. And the appearance may be different. The space enclosed in a small pot appears a small enclosed space. And in a bigger pot, it is bigger. The dimension is different. And the reflections of the sun also maybe appear different. In the muddy waters, unsteady waters, or clear, sparkling waters of the Ganga, appearance will be different. But when you say Gacha Gacha, that does not make any sense. Because the space like Atma and the light, Prakasha like Atma is Achalaha, cannot move anywhere. So then when the Shankaracharya hears this pravachanam by this unusual Chandala, he is stunned and he humbly acknowledges this Mahatma who has appeared in the form of the Chandala and composes these 5 verses in praise of this vision of oneness. And the one who has the vision, that is the Chandala, and says in every verse, Chandalostu satutvijostu gururityesha maneesha mama. Whoever has this Advaita Buddhi, this vision of oneness, is indeed my Guru. Esha mama maneesha. This is my firm conviction. So that is the introduction. Then we see that in each of the first 4 verses, Shankaracharya unfolds a Mahavakyam. Now, what is a Mahavakyam? Most of us know that. Mahavakyam is a Vedantic equation equating Jivatma to Paramatma. Now, how can this limited, struggling Jiva be equated to the Sarva Shaktiman, Sarvajnaha, all-pervading Paramatma? And we have seen this unfoldment in other places. We will not go into details now here. But how they are equated is by taking the essence. The essence or the core content of every jiva is the core content of Ishwar. Remember in chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say? Mamevamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. Arjuna, every jiva in this loka, in any loka, is my amsha, sanatana amsha. Sanatana amsha means eternal part of me. And Krishna has said there that I shine in the hearts of all the jivas. So there is that reflected sentience in all beings. So then the first, the verse is unfolding the Mahavakyam Prajnanam Brahma. Prajna means knowledge. So the knowledge of Brahma. What is really this self-knowledge all about? I will chant it once. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sputatara ya samvidujrambhate ya brahmadi pipili kantadhanushu prota jagat sakshini Saivaham na cha drishyavastviti drida prajnapi yasyasti chet Chandalostu satudvijostu gururityesha maneesha mama. Here in this Mahavakya, Acharya explains about the Atma Tattvam, and the Atma Tattvam is called Samvid. And we saw how the Samvid Shabda is a Strilinga Shabda. See, there are many names for Atma we have come across. Jnanam, Saha, Purushaha, then Chaitanyam, Chiti, Nyaptihi, Samvid, Spurti we are going to see today. So some are, masculine shabdas, strilinga shabdas, or neuter shabdas. But the supreme reality is, of course, alinga. So yaha samvit, that pure consciousness, where is it to be found? It is ujrimbate. Ujrimbate means it shines, it obtains, it manifests. And very clearly, sputatara. Sputatara in Brahmadi Pipili Kanta Tanushu. Now, this is, explaining the range here. So, that Atma Tattvam is in the range of jivas. You take the firstborn Hiranyagarbha Brahma and up to the Pipilika. Pipilika is the ant. Or it can be the minutest, creature when one can think of. Amoeba, microbe, blade of grass, and all of these ujrimbate, that's samvit, the pure consciousness, Atma. And very clearly, sputatara. And when in all the three periods of time, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptishu, Sputatara, Ya, Samvid, Ujrimbate. So there are these three avasthas, the waking avastha, the dream state, and the deep sleep state. So that Ya Samvit, that shines as Aham Aham in every jiva, in every bit of creation, that is the Jagat Sakshini. See, notice the Jagat Sakshini is also feminine. Jagat Sakshini goes with Ya Samvit. And that is the witness. So who is really the witness? The witness means the witness in all the three states of consciousness. So we go through these three states every day, right? Right now, waking world, maybe 16 hours a day. And so, Samvit is the witnessing awareness of all our role-playing vyavaharas, of the mind. How do I know that I am ignorant of something and knowledgeable about other things? How do I know that my sense organs function or do not? How am I aware that this body is aging, that the body has many different organs and functional components, So this is what Krishna has said in the Gita chapter 13 also. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityate kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. O Arjuna, know me as the kshetrajnaha. Kshetrajnaha means the core content of all the beings. And this body is kshetram. Kshetram means a field of experience. Field of experience is that which one can observe, analyze, and witness. So that is the meaning of Jagat Sakshini. The samvit that obtains Ujrimbate in every jiva, in the entire creation, as the witnessing awareness. So this, in the waking world, we can accept that. What about the dream world? Swapna Avastha. Swapna Avastha also, there is this awareness principle which witnesses the dream transactions, dream experiences, dream worlds. Then what about Sushupti? In the deep sleep state, there is no world. And there is no Karta Bhokta Jiva also. There is no time space. And so there, what does the Sakshi do? The Sakshi witnesses nothing. So, absence of experience is also an experience. So, the Jagat Sakshi is the silent witness even in the deep sleep state, where there is no Nama Rupa and Kriya. So, this is the first two lines, and one more word is there, Prota. Now, Prota means woven. In the Gita, we saw Sutre Maniganaha Iva. If you take every bit of creation, the 84 lakh species as a money, as a bead, then they're all strung on me, Krishna said. Sutre Maniganaha Iva. So Prota gives that meaning. Just as, in Angavastram, it is Prota by the yarn. So too, that Atma Tattvam, all pervading Atma Tattvam is the yarn which pervades the fabric of the entire creation. So that is Prota. Then the third line said, Sa eva aham. Again, Sa eva aham is that samvit, which is the witnessing principle, which is shining as aham aham in the hearts of every jiva, that indeed I am. Here is the Mahavakyam, sa eva aham. And I am not what? Drishya vastu. I am not this, this object of experience. Yeah, an object of experience like the table, the table, the board, the wall, the plant, the tree. And so I am not this body. Drigeva natu drishyaha. So whatever we can observe, how can I be that? Because whatever is observed has already changed. So the moment I see all of you, every moment is changing. And then the light reflecting off my body, by the time it reaches you, this body has changed. So how can that kshetram be me? So that is why I am the kshetrajna. So here we have to understand one thing, especially for new students, that there are two eyes, So now Shastra is saying you are Samvit, you are Chaitanyam, you are Atma Tattvam, but I have always taken to be so and so, the husband, son, daughter. I am 5 feet 4 inches tall, I am a senior citizen, retired, grandparent. All these roles and labels we are accustomed to. So then Shastra says, but you are much more than that. Definitely, you have a transactional, empirical, relative, vyavaharika identity, and which is very useful to play roles. But you are much more than that. In fact, you are the source from which everything is manifested. You are the source of the entire universe, which is a very staggering statement. And Vedanta proceeds to show us that how an Atma Brahma is the Satyam, and that is the source of this Mithya Jagat. So the entire world, which includes my body, mind, sense complex, is Mithya, dependent reality. Yeah? But I am really the Brahma Satyam. Sa eva aham, nacha drishya vastu. And the one who has this prajna, dhrida prajna api yasya asti chet, the one who has that, Acharya completes the verse and says, is indeed my Guru. Be he a Chandala, be he a Brahmana, Vipraha, Dvijaha, Astu, Guruhu iti esha mama Maneesha. This is my firm conviction. Yeah? So, this unfolds the Atma Tattvam here, and Atma as Sat in the first verse. Yeah? Now, let's move on to the second verse. The second verse, straight away starts off with the Mahavakyam. Brahma eva aham. Brahmaivahamidam jagatcha sakalam chinmatra vistaritam. Brahmaivahamidam jagatcha sakalam chinmatra vistaritam. Sarvam chaitad vidyaya trigunaya ashesham maya kalpitam. Ittam yasya dridhamritmati sukhatare nitye pare nirmale. Chandalostu satu dvijostu gururityesha manisha mama. Brahma eva aham. So notice the change of words again. That which was Samvit in the first verse is Brahma here. So that Brahma, this is giving us the macro picture now. That pure consciousness, Brahma, eva aham, I am indeed that. And that Brahma, idam jagatcha sakalam chinmatra vistaritam. Vistaritam means expanded, manifested. So that Brahma, Chaitanyam, has manifested as what? This entire world. In the form of Chit. So here, Atma is explained as Chit. What is Chit? Chit is the knowingness, the principle of knowledge. Consciousness is Chit. Sarvam cha etat avidyaya trigunaya ashesham maya kalpitam. Now here we have to explain this as how did this Brahma manifest as the world? Brahma is ekaha and the world is infinite. Namarupa Kriyas. And so here comes the role of Maya. So Maya is the creative power of Brahma, which is Trigunatmika, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So by the power of Maya, we have seen this in a number of texts, especially Tattva Bodha, how the Pancha Mahabhutas are created, then the elementals after Panchikaranam, and then the subtle universes, and then the gross universe. This is the role of Maya in manifesting the whole Jat. So that is why we say that the Ekaha Brahma has manifested as countless appearances. Just like the water has assumed the forms of the countless waves. The usual example. Gold is one, but the gold is shaped into various ornaments. So a student of Vedanta will say, where is the bangle? Where is the necklace? Where is the anklet? I see only gold. So in all the earthenware, I see only mud, the clay. Yeah. And so to the wise person will say, this infinite, countless Nama Rupas, I see only the Tattvam. I see only the Brahma Tattvam. That is the subtle vision of the Jnana. Then the second line says that in a Jiva's world also it is similar. In the macro scale, the universe, it is the Maya which is hiding the Brahma Tattva. But what about in our lives, in our personal worlds? It is Avidya. Avidya means self-ignorance. So the self-ignorance that I am Samvit, that I am the Brahma Tattvam, that is forgotten or that is concealed, and then Avidya, because of that, the Maya Shakti makes me identify with the body, mind, sense complex, which is Trigunatmika, and then I land myself in the net of the gunas. I am so and so, and identified as Karta Bhokta, I become the Sukhi Dukhi Jiva. So Maya Kalpitam was the word used. So the world that we experience, that we think we belong to, is really, where is it experienced? In the mind. And does the world, the Jagat, have an independent existence? No. Because in the dream state, a different world comes into picture, and the deep sleep state, both the worlds vanish. Neither dream world nor the waking world. So where is the consistency of the Jagat? And the next day when we wake up, the Jagat returns. So the Jagat is arriving and departing, not only at the individual scale, but also at the macro scale. There is Srishti, Sthiti and Laya. The Prapanchas also rotate and the Avasthas also rotate. Yeah. But what is constant? Ya Samvid. Sa eva aham. And so the third line says, again, the one who has this Dhrida Matihi. This understanding, if it is firm, for whom? It is firm means the one who is anchored in the Sukatara, Nirmala, Para, Nitya, Brahma Vastu. That is, I am indeed, and not this perishable bodies, but I am the Sat and the Chit. In Tattva Bodha, there was the question, Atma Kaha, what is Atma? The answer was Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha Panchakoshatitaha Satchidananda Sun. So that is Sat Rupa, which is not subject to time, and Chit, which is the pure consciousness. So these first two verses bring about this Sat and Chit. So you see, the role of Maya is explained here. See, Maya is the wonderful creative power of Brahma. And first, what will Maya do? Conceal. Conceal or hide from view. And then once something is concealed, what will the mind do? Project. This is called Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. Why did I mistake the rope for a snake? Because the rope was concealed from my mind, from my knowledge. And then the rope appeared as a snake. That is Vikshepa Shakti. And so too, Maya Kalpita means the Atma Tattvam is, is not seen, is missed by the mind. And because it is concealed, then, the world is projected. Maya Kalpitam. And so the second verse also ends by saying, the one who has a clear understanding of Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. And the Jagat includes the body, mind, sense complex. It is not that we are going to neglect or ignore our personal life situations, worlds, bodies, and minds. No. Mithya means it is very, very important. But to understand that Mithya is something impermanent. Mithya does not have an independent status, and it is dependent on Atma. So to be clear about Atma and Anatma is the Matihi talked about here, Dhrida Matihi, and the one who has this is indeed my Guru. Guruhu iti esha mama Maneesha. The Dakshinamurti Stotram, the verse 1 talks about this. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari. In that, Acharya, same Adi Shankaracharya says, this world is like a reflected city in the mirror. So too, this world that I take to be very real is appearing in the mirror like mind. If the mind is a mirror, then the world is a reflection. It's a reflected city in my own mind. Yeah. So that is how the second verse was explained, and where the Mahavakyam is Aham Brahma Asmi. Then we saw also the third shloka, and the third shloka talked about how anityam this jagat is. No, anityam is that which is fleeting and which is temporary. Shashvannashvarameva vishwamakhilam nischitya vacha guroho nityam brahma nirantaram vimrshata nirvyaja shantatmana bhutam bhavicha dushkritam pradahata samvinmaye pavake prarabdhaya samarpitam svavapuritesha manisha mama. So here Acharya says, Shashwan Nashwaram Eva Vishwam Akhilam. Akhilam Vishwam means this entire world is what? Shashwat and Nashwaram. That is, it is perishable, which we just talked about. Perishable means it is a dependent reality. Yeah. So you see, Atma and Anatma cannot be parallel realities. That is, both of them can coexist. No. There is only one. Atma appears as Anatma. So Anatma, which is the matter principle, is dependent on Atma and derives its sustenance from Atma. So if you take the body, to be hardware, then the mind can be like the apps, software. Yeah? But we know that to activate the hardware and software, we need the power. So Atma is compared to like the power switch. Yeah, the actual uninterrupted power supply, UPS, which empowers the bodies and activates them. So there is a Karana Karya Sambandha, no doubt, that Atma Brahma is the Karanam, and Anatma Jagat, Anatma body, mind, sense complex is Karyam. But there is only one. There are no two. Why? Because in the causal state, Atma Brahma is Karanam. And when it is manifest, it is Karanam. So to come to that pot example, you see, there is only clay. But seen from the viewpoint of Karyam, as a Karyam we say pot, as Karanam we say clay. But there is only clay. Yeah, that is the vision here. So here in this third verse, Adi Shankaracharya says, this Jagat is Nashwaram. It is perishable, means it is momentary. Anityatvam of the Jagat is pointed out. In the Bhaja Govindam, we saw a similar verse. No? Dinaya minyau sayam prataha shishira vasantau punarayataha kalaha kridati gacchati ayuhu tadapi namunchati asha vayu. So Shankaracharya says, look at the flow of time. Kalaha kridati. The time is rolling on. Time and tide waits for no man. And now this we have the new Samvatsara now, Krodhi Samvatsara, and the 60-year cycles repeat itself, seasons repeat itself, day and night follow ceaselessly. Yeah. Then at the end of the Zoom session, our bodies would have aged by 1 hour or so. So where is the permanence? So the Jagat, even as we see, it is Nashwaram. It has changed. Nashwaram does not mean destroyed. It means transformed, has changed. Yeah. And so Shashwan Nashwaram Eva. Anityatvam of the Jagat is one. Then Nischitya Vacha Guru. So having ascertained, having understood all this by the words of the Guru, through Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyas. Now the question may come, to understand that the Jagat is impermanent, do I need a Guru? Not really. Because my own Anubhava, my experience shows me daily that, bodies are aging, calendars are, changing every year. So my experience proves the anityatvam of the Jagat. But then I begin to inquire, Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha, is there anything permanent? And so then we come to that famous Mundaka mantra, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmanaha Nirvedam Ayat Nasti Akritaha Kritena Tatvijnanartham Saha Gurumeva Vigachet Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam Samitpani. Very famous mantra, where one begins to wonder, everything is changing. Krishna talks in the 18th chapter, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriteshet Juna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Mantrarudhani Maya. So look at the power of Maya. It is spinning all of us as though we are mounted on a machine. But I am seated in the hearts of all as the shining Tattva. So in Pariksha Lokan mantra, the mumukshu begins to discriminate. Is there a nitya vastu? Is there any permanence at all? Is there an anchor? And so, nasti na asti akritaha kritena. How will I get, total emotional fulfillment? When will this desiring and seeking stop? This insecurity. And so, tat vijnanartham, to know that, may one approach the Sadguru, who is a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru, and with Shraddha and with an open mind, may one do Shravanam and Mananam to know that there is the Nitya Vastu and what is the nature of the Nitya Vastu. So Nischitya Vacha Guroho. Then we saw, and such a person, Nityam Brahma Nirantaram Vimrishata. Vimrishata Nirvyaja Shantatmana. And then with a calm mind, this yogi or this muni will do inquiry on that Nityam Brahma Nirantaram, always, constantly. Constantly, and that is why this is a very important stage. Shravanam, we hear about Nitya Vastu. Then Mananam, obviously, it will not all sink in right away. We will have doubts. So we clarify our doubts. But then, for proper internalization, assimilation, we need to dwell upon the Tattvam. And that is the Nididhyasanam stage. In the Chandala challenges Adi Shankaracharya, is actually challenging whether the knowledge is well assimilated. In our daily Vyavahara, is this knowledge available to us? No? Then this third verse says that, for the person who becomes an Atma Samstaha, who withdraws the mind from this changing ephemeral world to the Nitya Vastu, Brahma, Nirantaram, what happens? Bhutam Bhavicha Dushkritam Pradahata. The karmas get burnt. So here, two sets of karmas are mentioned. Bhuta karmas are the infinite Sanchita store. The store that are waiting to bear fruit in future janmas. They are all burnt. Why? Because there is no person anymore. There is no karta. There is no karta. So how will the karma phalam come? At a future date, it cannot come. So Sanchita, store of karma, has been burnt by gaining self-knowledge. Because self-knowledge means what? I have gained the understanding that I am the actionless Atma. So that was called Naishkarmyam in the Gita. So actionless Atma I am, but actions continue. But there is no Karta Bhokta. So that is as though there is no action. Like King Janaka, a great king with hundreds of actions every day. But in the heart of hearts, he is a pure instrument and there is no Karta Bhokta and no Karma Phalam, no Sukhi Dukhi Jiva will be there. So the Sanchita store is burnt. Then the future karma, Agami, that is the karma which is accumulated in this Janma. That also will not be there because again for the same reason, there is no Karta Bhokta Jiva. Then what about the Prarabdha? Is that not burnt? No. Now, why? Why does the Prarabdha continue for the case of Jnani? Because the Jnani is needed by us. Yeah? Jnani does not need the world, but the world needs a Jnani. So even after enlightenment, Prarabdha continues, Sharira Yatra continues, and there will be actions for Loka Sangraha, actions for Sharira Yatra to complete the Prarabdha karma, which is like an arrow shot, and which is, the momentum will exhaust itself out and it will end. So it is as though all the three karmas we can say are as good as burnt. Burnt how? In the fire of self-knowledge. Samvin maye pavake. That Samvit is back. Samvin maye pavake. In the fire of self-knowledge. Then prarabdhaya samarpitam swavapuhu. So this jnani surrenders his body and his life completely to the flow of prarabdha. No, even the jnani will go through, negative karma phalam, which has already begun and it has to bear fruit. So there will be plus and minus, even the Shesha karmas will happen for the jnani also. But since he surrendered, then he remains very calm and contented. Yeah, and then Viveka Chudamani describes that the body is like a burnt rag, burnt cloth. So there is no identification. No, they are Abhimana. And so he will not be affected also by Prarabdha karma. Yeah. Then, now we come to the shloka, a new shloka, that is the fourth one. Yeah, so here we can say this third verse unfolds the Mahavakyam Tattvamasi. Okay? Because it's talking about the Nityam Brahma, that is the Tattvam. So Tattvamasi means you are that, Nityam Brahma, and not this perishable body. Now we come to the fourth verse. I will chant it first. Yatiryam naradevataabhirahamityantasphota gryhyate. Yatiryam naradevataabhirahamityantasphota gryhyate. Yadbhasa hridayaksha deha vishaya bhanti svato chetanaha. Yadbhasa hridayaksha deha vishaya bhanti svato chetanaha. Tambhasye pihitarkamandala-nibham spurtim sada bhavayan. Tambhasye pihitarkamandala-nibham spurtim sada bhavayan. Yogi nirvritamanaso hi gururityesha maneesha mama. Yogi nirvritamanaso hi gururityesha maneesha mama. Now here in the fourth verse, here we will see another Mahavakyam. Ya tiryam nara devatabhihi aham iti antasputa grihyate. Yad bhasa hridaya aksha deha vishayaha bhanti swataha achetanaha. Okay. Tam bhasyehi pihitarka mandala nibham spurtim sada bhavayan. So now here we come to this word spurti. Yeah, ya spurti. Okay, now ya spurti, again we are back to the feminine shabda. I am often asked, why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is always talking about saha, eshaha, pramuchyate, vimuchyate. He will be liberated, he will gain the knowledge. Why always this male dominance we see? So now Maneesha Panchakam has proved that Shastra is not, partial towards any gender. See, as we saw before, gender is only in the physical body, Surya Shariram. But the mind is Alingaha. Mind has no gender. So here, the word for Atma is Ya Spurti. Spurti means effulgence. And effulgence here is sentience. Yeah, we saw that how this Atma makes our bodies and minds sentient. Otherwise, what is our body and mind? They're all matter. Matter is put together by Maya Shakti. It's the Pancha Mahabhutas, and that is also inert, Jadam. Then how do we have a talking, walking, chatting, feeling, judging, concluding individual? By the grace of Atma. So the Atma empowers this hardware and software, the bodies and the minds and the sense organs. And through these karanas, the whole world is very real and transactionable. We transact because of the witnessing principle, that is Ya Samvit and Ya Spurtim, that is the Atma Brahma. So then here, this verse says that Ya Spurti, Sputa Grihyate. Grihyate means obtains or is grasped. It is shining as a reflected consciousness where then three examples are given here. Tiryang, Nara, Devata, Devatabhihi. So, what is a Tiryang? This may be a very unusual word. So, Tiryang means, the animals. Why? Tiryang means horizontal. So, the animals, you see, their spine will grow horizontally. So, they are called Tiryangs. Yeah. Whereas Nara, human beings, the spine is vertical. And Devata. So, Ya Spurti, Sputa Grihyate, that self-effulgent Atma which obtains or which shines in animals, in humans, in celestials. How? Aham iti antasputa grihyate, as the innermost Atma Tattvam. No, aham. If we say, are you there? If the question is asked, are you there? Are we going to feel our body and say, yes, I'm there? Or will I switch on the light? Or will I ask somebody? No, because that amness, that easiness is that sputa grihyate, is self-evident. I don't need a light to flash upon Atma and say, yes, Atma is present. Yeah, it is the invariable constant and it is the Atma. And Atma is self-evident, self-effulgent, self-revealing. Just like, when you go out and to see the sun. Do you need another source of light to illumine the sun? No. The sun is self-shining. So too, Atma is self-shining. Atma does not need any proof for its existence. Rather what? Here in this we see in the second line, Yat Bhasa, by whose light? By the Atma's light, Hridaya Aksha Deha Vishayaha Bhanti. What is Hridaya? Hridaya is the heart, or here the mind. Then Aksha. Aksha means eye, and here it stands for all the sense organs, 10 sense organs. And Deha is the physical body. So Yad Bhasa Hridaya Aksha Deha Vishayaha Bhanti. That which comes to light, that which is illumined by the Atma and Swataha Achetanaha. By themselves, the mind, the heart, talk about the liver or the internal organs, the skin. Can they ever function without the light of Atma? No. This is what scientists can never figure out. And even doctors are wondering, how does the heart beat for so many years and then one fine day it stops. So they are not finding the answer because the answer is beyond the range of scientific experiments, beyond the laboratories. Consciousness cannot be proved. So that Atma Brahma, Yad Bhasa, Hridaya Akshar, Deha Vishaya Bhanti, which are Swata Achetana. So what is Achetana? Matter principle. And within the matter principle, we have to include Anatma bodies, sense organs. Yeah, and there is only one Nitya Vastu, only one Chetana Vastu, that is Atma. Now comes a twist in this, in this shloka, and for that I am going to show you another slide. Now you see this slide about, on a cloudy day, what do we say? Oh, the sun is obstructed by the cloud. Yeah. Now the sun is 1,000 times bigger than the earth, and the cloud is such a tiny cloud. Can this tiny cloud, Atma, cover the mighty sun? Not possible. Yeah? In fact, the cloud exists because of the sun. The sun has evaporated water and formed clouds. And we see the cloud by the light of the sun. But what has happened here? The cloud is as though covered the sun. Yeah? Or another example that I found very interesting is the solar eclipse. The recent solar eclipse in Amavasya, we say the moon has covered the solar disk. Yeah? Again, how can this moon cover the solar disk? Cannot be covered. But the moon has come on the path, has obstructed the range of vision alone. Yeah? And the moon reflects the sunlight. The moon can be seen only by the sun. So how can the moon or the cloud or anything cover the, the sun? So too, here, the example is here. Tam bhasyehi pihitarka mandala nibham. Look at the word pihita arka mandala. Arka mandala means the solar disk. The solar disk is pihita. Pihita means covered. Nibham is like. So the tragedy here is, here the Acharya is trying to say that, look at the sad part. Atma is illumining all these karanas, body, mind, sense, organs. They are obtaining sentience. They have borrowed sentience from Atma. But this very body, mind, sense complex, like the cloud and the moon, have as though covered Atma. Atma is concealed, buried, hidden by Anatma bodies. This is our experience, is it not? Do I always claim myself to be Satchidananda Atma Swarupaha? No. I am very much focused on the Anatma body, mind, sense organ. Something goes wrong, how worried and anxious I get. Yeah. So here, that Spurtim is Sada Bhavan, is ever present. Yeah. And nothing can block it. Nothing can block it. But here, it is as though it is hidden. Now you see, all of you can see my hand, right? The hand is deha, part of this body, and very tangible. You see the 5 fingers. Thank God I have 5 fingers. But do you see anything else? Do you see the light which is illumining the hand? Right now there is light. Still some sunlight is there, and room light is also there. But we don't see the light directly. We see only the reflected object, that is the hand. So we miss that self-evident, self-effulgent Atma, and we are focused on Anatma, which is illumined by Atma. And so here, taking the example of that solar disk covered by the cloud, Acharya is pointing out that Yaspurti is Sada Bhavayan. Then the last line says yogi, but the yogi who Nirvrita Manasaha, he who is Nirvrita Manasaha means who's turned his mind away from the finite pursuits, from the world of Nama Rupas, and turned inwards and perceives the Atma Tattvam. Yogi Guruhu iti esha mama Maneesha. That one is indeed my Guru. That is my Guru, and that is my firm conviction. So you see, wherever there is an experience, like I lift my thumb, one finger, or I'm blinking an eyelid, or the heartbeat, how is it happening? All by the grace of Atma. But which is taken for granted, which is ignored, which is as though concealed and covered by our bodies. So here the message is to turn inwards with a steady and pure mind, and for such a mind, Atma Tattvam reveals itself. That was the fourth shloka. Now we come to the last shloka of Maneesha Panchakam. Which is this one. Yat saukyam buddhi lesha leshata ime shakradayo nirvritaha yat chitte nitaram prashanta kalane labhva munir nirvritaha yasmin nitya sukham buddhau galitadhihi brahmaiva na brahmavet यः कश्चित् स सुरेन्द्रवन्दितपदो नूनं मनीषा मम. This tune belongs to the Akashavani. Most of us belong to that generation, Doordarshan and Akashavani generation. We have heard this melody there. But to come back to the Dakshinamurti melody, Yat Saukyam Buddhileeshaleshata ime Shaktradayo Nirvritaha Yat Chitte Nitaram Prashanta Kalane Labhva Munit Nirvritaha Yasmin Nitya Sukham Buddhau Galitadhir Brahmaiva na Brahmavet Yah Kaschit Sasurendra Vandita Pado Nunam Maneesha. So we are done with the first 4 verses. Yeah, the first 4 verses unfolded 4 Mahavakyams. Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahma Asmi, Tat Tvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahma. The last verse was Ayam Atma Brahma. Now, these 4 Mahavakyas are from the 4 Vedas, but wherever there is equality, equated, Jivatma, Paramatma equated, that is a Mahavakya for us. So this 5th verse is unfolding what? The Phalashruti. The Phalashruti, and going to show us how the Atma is Ananda Rupa Atma. Why do we say, Atma is bliss, Atma is Ananda, Swarupananda? That is explained here. Yat Saukhya Ambudhi Lesha Leshata ime Shakradayaha Nirvritaha Yat Chitte Nitaram Prashanta Kalane Labhva Munihi Nirvritaha Yasmin Nitya Sukham Buddhau Galita Dhihi Brahma Eva Na Brahmavit Yaha Kaschit Saha Surendra Vandita Padaha Nunam Maneesha Mama. So now, this is going to explain where is Ananda experienced. But before we come to that, what is the Ananda we are talking about here? Now, you see, if we have a beautiful eyes, somebody is a Meenakshi or a Vishalakshi, then, but the sad part is one cannot see one's own eyes or face. So where is that going to be seen? Only in a mirror, right? So in a mirror alone, we can see the reflection of our face or our eyes. Yeah? So too, it is said that the experiential Ananda, when we experience Ananda due to a promotion, when a grandchild is born, or a vivaha is going on, or a tournament is won, I'm a gold medalist, or my book has become a bestseller. There are countless examples of Experiential Ananda when there is a fusion, subject-object fusion. Then what happens? Like the reflection in the mirror, the fullness that is Atma appears as a lesha. It is experience in the mind. So the mind is the mirror where the Pratibimbita Ananda happens. The reflected Ananda is experienced in the mind. And so the experiential Ananda we know is what? Agama Payana. It has an arrival date and a departure date. Yeah? Because it is ye samsparshajaha bhogaha. It is that Ananda, experiential Ananda is born of what? Of union. Yeah, two things come together. The first sip of our morning coffee, or the dessert, rasagulla. There is a samsparsham, union. And that is the experiential Ananda. Where is it experienced? In the mind. So now the Shastra says that, so the mind will have degrees of Ananda. The mind will not show us the real Ananda. Just as the real face cannot be seen by oneself. One can only see the reflection in a mirror. So there are these degrees of Ananda called Priya, Moda, Pramoda. What is Priya? I'm happy. Moda, happier. Pramoda, ecstatic, happiest. To take an example, we want to build our own house. Okay, so when we are discussing the plans and the plot, how much to buy and what kind of building it will be, 4 BHK or 3 BHK, there is Priya. It's a Priya stage. We're very excited and happy about it. Then when the construction begins and the flat is ready or the house or whatever, there is Moda. Even more happier I am. Experience in the mind again. Then finally, when the keys are in my hand, I am in possession of the house. And then Griha Pravesanam is announced and all the guests are arriving. How happy I'll be? Pramoda. But after that begins the tensions. So Priya, Moda, Pramoda are degrees of happiness reflected in the mind by gaining a desire. Whenever a desired object is attained, we go through these degrees of happiness. Yeah. And so the Shastra says is that the Swarupananda, the Atma which is Ananda Swarupa, does not need an external factor in order to be happy. It is Nirnimitta Ananda. So that is the fullness, Purnatvam, fullness which is not any of the Vishayananda, Yogananda or Vidyananda, which is contact based, Sparsham. Yeah? And so here in the first line, it is said that even Indra, Shakradeha, Shakra means Indra. Adi Padartha is the gods. Even all the gods, what kind of Ananda are they enjoying in the subtle lokas? Lesha Ananda. They are enjoying the fraction, a minute fraction of the absolute Ananda. Yat Saukhya Ambudi Lesha Leshataha Ime Shakradayaha Nirvritaha. Nirvritaha means happy. So Shakradayaha, the Indra and the gods, they're all happy. Yeah. But they are enjoying the lesha of the fullness manifest in their subtle minds. Yeah, in their subtle minds. So the ignorant people, they chase the finite objects in the world, and no doubt they get some happiness for some time. Priyamoda Pramoda. But this jnani, second line, Yat chitte nitaram prashanta kalane lappa munihi nirvrataha. But the Muni enjoys the fullness, the Ananda Sarupa Atma, by just turning the mind within Nitaram and focusing the Chittam on the Nitya Vastu Brahma. So, does that mean that the Jnani will not be happy in a happy situation? No, the Jnanis will also be happy when there is an occasion to be happy. But the Jnanis will not depend on any factor to become happy. That is a bonus. If some happy event occurs, it's a bonus. But Atmaneva Atmana Tushta. Now, at some point we had discussed, remember the calculus of Ananda? That is called Ananda Mimamsa, given very beautifully in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So, which says that let us begin with 1 unit of human happiness. And the maximum happiness possible on planet Earth, let's call it 1 unit. Then as we proceed to subtle lokas, it will exponentially multiply. Gandharva loka, 100 times. Then Manisha Gandharva, even 100 times that. Then Deva Gandharva. Then the Pitraloka. Then Devaloka. Then Indraloka. Then Brihaspati Loka. Prajapati Loka. And finally, Brahma Loka. So the Ananda in any of the subtle lokas are all experienced in the mind, but they all fall short. They're all a lesha, a fraction of the fullness that this Atma Jnani, I should not say experience, the Atma Jnani owns up and enjoys. And how does he enjoy? Because he is Ananda Swarupa Atma. He doesn't even have to gain it, but he has to turn towards it and claim it. So that was pointed out in the first 2 verses, lines of the final verse. No? Then finally we have Yasmin Nitya Sukham Budau Galita Dhihi. Yasmin, Sukha Ambudhi means the ocean of Ananda. Saukhya Ambudhi also same, ocean of Ananda. So Yasmin, in that Ananda ocean, this Muni, this sage is what? He is a Galita Dhihi. Galita Dhihi means the one whose intellect, Dhi or the mind, is Galita. Galita means merged, has completely become one with the ocean. And then Brahma Eva, Galita Dhihi Brahma Eva na Brahmavid. Yeah? Remember this, where did this come? This Brahma Eva Brahmavid Bhavati, Mundaka Upanishad. So this Muni, he does not just become a knower of Brahma. Like supposing, I study botany, I'm a botany student. Do I become plants? Do I become a plant? No. If I study geology, do I become a rock? Again, no. But if I pursue the study of Brahma Vidya, I do become Brahma. Means I am Brahma. I have to own it. That is the meaning of na Brahmavid, but Brahmaeva Bhavati. That is nothing but the altar of Brahma. And everything else is just secondary. The world, the body, mind, senses, all, background. The foreground now is I am Atma Brahma. Yasmin Nitya Sukhambudau Galita Devi Brahmaiva na Brahmavid. Then the last line of the last verse is Yaha Kaschit. Whoever that may be, Acharya says, Saha, he is what? Surendra Vandita Padaha. Surendra is again Indra. So that person is worshipped by the gods themselves. No? I've said this before that, even the gods are sometimes envious of mumukshus and jnanis, in this bhuloka. Why? Because we are pursuing actively, Brahma Vidya, which they cannot do. They have to wait till they get a Manisha Janma. So they are envious and they are, So here it is Surendra Vandita Padaha. So such a jnani is worshipped. His feet, Padaha, or his status is Vandita, worshipped by even the gods. Nunam Maneesha Mama. This is, my firm conviction. Says, Acharya. So this ends with the Kalashut, of this entire Maneesha Panchakam. So we see that this Maneesha Panchakam is thus concluded with each verse showing us the Mahavakyam and the vision of oneness. Vision of oneness means Advaita Buddhi. Whereas Shastra says, if we have the Dvaita Buddhi, what will happen? Dvaitadhi Bhayam Bhavati. Even when there are two people, there will be a reason for conflict, stress, competition, fear. and there'll be an incompatibility. But where there is vision of oneness, that is the only solution and will lead us to cosmic peace and harmony. On an individual, manner, for a community, for a nation, and internationally, and of course, cosmic harmony. So we can dwell upon each of these, verses, so that we can internalize this, great vision of oneness. Yeah? And there is a story about how one student could not accept, a non-Hindu, a Hindu student in America, one of Swamiji's devotees, could not accept a non-Hindu son-in-law or a daughter-in-law. And he was struggling with that. Orthodox Hindus cannot accept that, right? But then he was a student of Vedanta. And then when he studied the Maneesha Panchakam, he got completely transformed. And he could graciously accept, and the mind underwent a transformation. So, we all talk about, Ahamatma, Brahma and all that. But is this knowledge available practically, in my daily life situations? That is the transformation needed. And that is called assimilated Vijnanam stage. And that can only happen by Nididhyasanam, taking time to dwell upon these verses. And so we do that sometimes, meditation and all that, but I would encourage you all to spend some 10 minutes, just on the meaning, and it will sink deeper in the consciousness, and then we'll find that inner space, inner freedom, and then life will not be such a struggle anymore. I struggle to be happy, struggle to be secure, struggle to be peaceful, but once I know that peace, security, happiness is my own nature, then all the struggle is going to drop. So that is the Maneesha Panchakam. We'll conclude. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.